I won't lie to you, when I see misinformation in the fandom or people getting things wrong, it can be a little bit annoying. And I've been pretty pissed off in the past about certain pieces of misinformation, not just because no matter what I do, people are going to believe nonsense anyways, even though I have a whole series on the channel where I debunk myths and things that are untruths about Dragon Ball, but it's also sometimes infuriating to read something that somebody wrote without there being any sort of thought put into it. However, with this situation in particular, I think this is a situation where I think some people fall into that category while others are influenced by said people who say things without actually thinking it through or remembering what they actually saw. Now, what am I talking about? When it comes to a show like Dragon Ball, a lot of people are hardcore like I am. I've seen these shows multiple times in my life. Others, though, remember it from Toonami, or they remember it from their childhood, or they remember the DVDs and Blu-rays. And even with Dragon Ball Super, even though it's new, people still kind of remember things incorrectly. And the one thing I want to debunk on today's video is this, I guess, idea that Goku's actually a secret villain in Dragon Ball Super and that he's not a good guy based on choices that he made in the Tournament of Power. That's going to be today's edition of Dragon Ball Mythbusters. It's not too late for you to get your hands on the Geekdom 101 special Dragon Ball Daima merch. If you want a shirt, you can get it in multiple colors, whatever color you think looks the best on you. It's fully customizable and size. And if you don't want a shirt, we also have other variety of clothing as well as hats, long sleeve shirts, hoodies, and even mouse pads. Get it today, don't wait. Have you ever met somebody in your life who thinks they're really smart and enlightened and they think that they've discovered some kind of secret conspiracy or some kind of secret aspect about something and they feel really good about themselves because they feel smart, but when you apply logic and reason and when you actually think things through, it's actually pretty stupid? There's a lot of that on the internet and tons of it in the anime and Dragon Ball fandom. And I think that this Goku being a supervillain thing or Goku being the secret villain of Dragon Ball, I think a lot of this is from a lot of people who think that way. I feel like people who come up with this idea of Goku being an actual villain or a bad person or whatever, they either read it on Instagram or Facebook or see it on TikTok and they say, "Hey, well, that makes sense to me. I'm smart. Let me tell all my Dragon Ball friends this secret awesome theory I've come up with." When really, when you think about it and pay attention, it's pretty stupid. I've seen literally hundreds of those for the past 8 years. Now, one thing I want to say before we go into this is I am not saying that Goku is a perfect person because he's not. Goku has made tons of selfish decisions all throughout Dragon Ball, going all the way back to even the original manga. And that's actually what makes him interesting. If he was perfect and flawless, he would be boring. I like the fact that Goku is different than a lot of other protagonists. On top of that, people don't seem to really understand that Goku is the consummate martial artist. I've done a whole series of videos on the channel with Jordan the Dragon Lee called Dragon Ball X Saiyuki, where we delve into the roots of Dragon Ball and the character of Goku based on Sun Wukong. And I highly recommend watching those because we discover and explore deeper aspects of Goku. But yeah, he's done some pretty dumb things and selfish things in his life, but the idea that he's this bad person is wild. I feel like the majority of the time that people say this, it's either from that whole Goku is a bad father side of the fandom, people who are somewhat casual and don't really dig into the material and understand it. But I see it a lot more in Dragon Ball Super because of what happened in the Tournament of Power. Let me remind you of what I'm talking about. Whenever I see fans discussing Goku's mistakes in Dragon Ball Super, a lot of times it comes back to the fact that they feel like Goku is the one who initiated the Tournament of Power. Now, if you forgot, one of the aspects of this arc is that the Omni King Zeno, who has the ability to wipe away entire universes with just his finger, wants to create this tournament featuring fighters from the multiverse. So every universe, with the exception of 4 of them, create these teams and go into this big battle royale in the Tournament of Power arena. And when your entire team is wiped out or eliminated from the tournament, Zeno will then destroy the entire universe. In Dragon Ball Super, as well as the original manga, Goku is the consummate martial artist, somebody who always wants to test his skills, his body, mental, and physical prowess in combat against the best opponent he can fight. And with the multiverse being first introduced going all the way back to Beerus at the end of Battle of Gods, Goku was salivating for better competition. And thus, when he went to Zeno, he wanted to remind him of what Zeno had said during the end of the Universe 6 arc about eventually doing a bigger tournament. Goku did not go to him telling him, hey, if you do this tournament, make sure that the people who don't win get killed. None of that came out of Goku's mouth. That was a choice that the Omni King made. But I think what a lot of people forget is the actual outcome. When you look at the Tournament of Power as a whole, Goku had nothing to do with Zeno's decision to destroy the losing universes. But even still, some blame Goku for pushing this to Zeno to even bring it about. But I think people are forgetting an important aspect, and that is the fact that by the end of the arc, we find out that the Omni King wanted to destroy other universes. We find out that he himself was planning on wiping out billions of people on his own, and it was the Tournament of Power, Goku's willingness to fight and entertain Zeno, even though that wasn't the reason why he did it. It was still something that both Omni Kings loved, and as a result of that, it became a game to him. Let's not forget that by the end of the arc, we find out directly from the Omni King that whichever universe won the Tournament of Power had to use the Super Dragon Balls, which was the winning prize, to bring back the other universes. In other words, this was a big test for the multiverse. Would they do the right thing? The idea was to test if these people were good or bad, selfish or unselfish. The selfish thing, if you won the tournament, is to use the Super Dragon Balls to wish for power or money or something that would only benefit you. But when Universe 7 won the tournament, Android 17 made the right decision to bring back the multiverse, and thus Zeno chose to accept that and revealed that that's what he wanted, just to see if there was good in these universes. Don't forget that the universes that fought in the TOP were ranked lower than the 4 that didn't. They had low mortal levels. And even though there's a ton of misinformation about this from YouTubers that at the time didn't know what they were talking about, it remains that the mortal level had nothing to do with the power level of the people in the universes. Mortal level is more so, how do the mortals live? How do they perceive things? And are they good or bad people? And as a result of Android 17 making the right choice, the universes were spared. But if you remember, there's multiple lines in the manga, in fact, in the anime too, and I'll show you right now on the screen, as you can see right there, where it is stated that had it not been for Goku pushing for the TOP, those universes may have actually been wiped away. Goku was the one that gave the multiverse a chance to survive by pushing for this tournament. Was it a selfish decision? I could see that being the case, but ultimately, because Son Goku is the representation of Sun Wukong, Son Goku at the end of the day, despite being selfish sometimes, not all the time, sometimes, doesn't really have a malicious bone in his body. He didn't want anybody to die. That wasn't his choice. But for some weird reason, fans blame him, and it's always confused me because If he had not pushed for this tournament, the Omni King would have killed those people. He actually saved them without even meaning to. And when you scour Dragon Ball and you go all the way from the beginning of the series through Dragon Ball, Dragon Ball Z, and even if you include GT Super in the movies, when does Goku actually do something that is evil? Does he kill innocent people? Does he, I mean, there's a couple times where maybe some blast may have, unfortunately killed some bystanders, but that's more so happenstance from the fight, not his choice. Goku, especially as an adult, especially when he's an adult, is absolutely not evil. And if I'm being honest, to suggest otherwise kind of makes you look stupid. You might think you're smart and you might think you've discovered some kind of secret meaning, but you're just looking for attention by creating this dumb theory without putting thought into it. I just want people to actually use that lovely brain that Mother Nature gave us between our ears before saying something stupid like Goku's the secret villain of Dragon Ball Super. And if you're skeptical, go out there and look for it. You would not believe the stupid nonsense I see in this fandom from people who really think they know. And sometimes, unfortunately, even if you try to get through to them, they just won't listen because their egos won't let them accept that they don't know everything about Dragon Ball. Every day is a learning experience. Everything that happens and every person I talk to about this series, I really try to learn something new and learn something interesting and look at a different perspective. And I wish more people did that.